Hello, everyone. Welcome to Prime Movers Podcast. Today I have a very special guest, Brock Reynolds, who is currently pursuing a professional MMA, mixed martial arts career. Aspirations to be in the cage at UFC. And welcome to Prime Movers, Brock.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good. I'm glad to be here, man. Really excited to be working with you guys. I'm stoked for the invite.
No worries, buddy. Glad to have you on. So let me just run through a couple of some of your wins, losses, and everything here that you got. It looks pretty extensive. 43 career grappling matches, record of 27 wins, 13 losses, 3 draws.
Yes.
21 submissions, 4 of those submission victories in under 30 seconds. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's pretty damn good, man.
In the grappling scene, especially with those, like multiple match tournaments, sometimes you just got to go out there and get someone out of there quick so you can preserve your energy. Yeah. So I've had that happen quite a few times, and sometimes it's just the plan works. You go out there and the first move you go for works.
Yeah. So you've got so let me go into your background, your history. Born in Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Yes, sir.
Little surf town, beach town there. I've been there quite a bit myself growing up when I was younger surfing. And your history growing up, you surfed, you BMX bike, skateboarding, quite of your biggest interests.
Yeah.
What brought you to starting, you're 23 years old now, what brought you into starting to pursue professional fighting?
Well, so all through high school and mostly elementary school, middle school, high school, I was a small, skinny kid. I got picked on a lot, and I didn't like confrontation. And I grew up, I grew up in the era of when Facebook and World Star and all these things were getting popular. So I was so deathly afraid of someone picking a fight with me and me getting hurt, me getting, something happening, and then me losing the fight and getting plastered all over the internet.
Yeah.
I would just shut down from confrontation. I would let people walk all over me.
Yeah.
And I just got tired of it. And, I liked being, fit. I was always an active kid. And I was 18. I finally decided I wanted to get back in shape, and not just be a lazy couch potato. And then, at work, eventually, my original instructor, Frank Dukes Lavorsi, he moved to town to Cocoa Beach from New York, started coming into the restaurant I worked at, and started talking to me. And, eventually, jiu-jitsu and martial arts came up in the conversation. And I got interested, but it was it's such an intimidating thing. You're oh, yeah, I'll think about that. But then you kind of just put it in the back of your head. And one day I came across UFC #1, the very first ever UFC.
One, man, that was lawless almost.
Yes.
Back then, I imagine.
Came across
it in the early days. It was gnarly.
Yeah, it's just brutal. Yeah. But yeah, I came across that on YouTube, and I definitely thought Taylor Tully, the sumo wrestler, or Gerard Gordeau, the 6'3" kickboxer, was going to win. But even though he's not a small guy by any means, Royce Gracie, this kind of skinny dude in a gi, went out and choked everybody and just won the whole thing, and I was blown away. You hear this story all the time from people back in the 90s, but for me, even then, that was my introduction, was just pure, because that wasn't nowadays the UFC, everyone knows everything. Yeah. But that was pure style versus style. So I just watched a guy who really only trained jiu-jitsu go out and wrecked a lot of people. Yeah. And it was inspiring.
Yeah, I remember it was that was the draw card. The jiu-jitsu guys were the guys that were winning all the time. The Gracie Institute,
in that era.
They started the jiu-jitsu game, right? Pretty much was that? I mean, the
Gracie
prestigious type background with jiu-jitsu.
They're really the most well-known family. Right. I'm not going to, I don't know all the details on the whole history. Yeah. And there's a lot of controversy, people argue, who did what. But the Gracie family is definitely responsible for getting the name to the masses and for going out and showing that it can work with Royce and Hickson and Hoyler and basically that whole family. High-end Gracie, that guy was a monster. He was kind of a crazy wildcat.
Huge, big family, and they're all just
they're huge
units, man.
Yeah, all big, strong guys.
Jacked. Yeah. So you're a purple belt currently in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu.
Yes, I am.
And now, correct me if I'm wrong, that's just below black belt.
Yes,
is that right?
2 belts below.
Two belts, sorry.
After purple belt, you would get your brown belt, then your black belt.
Brown belt, then your black belt. And what I understand is you got your purple belt in 3 years' time, which the normal average person takes 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's did it pretty rapidly. Very quickly you got there.
I basically once I started, I became a gym rat. I've been training 5 to 7 days a week, basically since I was 19 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
4 years straight, just 5 to 7 days a week.
Yeah, coming up on 5 now.
Where you training at in Cocoa?
Yeah, I train at Off the Grid Brazilian Jiu Jitsu in Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Yep.
And then I also train at Fusion Excel Performance in Orlando, Florida, in the Ocoee Mall, or the West Oaks Mall in Ocoee.
Okay. So 5 to 7 days a week you're training full time.
Yeah, all day, every day. Sometimes 2 days. So like sometimes I'll go to Orlando, train MMA, and then come back to Cocoa Beach and train jiu-jitsu at night.
Jeez, man, that's commitment.
Yeah,
Right, it's got to be done. You got the talent in it, and that practice makes perfect. On the way to the top, really. What about grappling? So now grappling is just your ground and pound game, right? Not ground and pound, but your ground game of
wrestling,
takedowns.
Wrestling and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, because I watched your last fight that you won. It was excellent.
Thank you.
And it looked very interesting. I never really watched much with grappling. I'm always the UFC fan, where Conor McGregor and the Dustin Poirier, and even back in the days of Chuck Liddell, Iceman, and everything. That stuff, always followed that. But grappling's interesting to me. And then you do a bit of Muay Thai as well?
Yeah, so I've been training Muay Thai and just striking for a long time. I haven't really taken it too serious. It was always just I'll do a Muay Thai class after jiu-jitsu. But up until, once I decided I actually wanted to become a fighter and take my fight career serious, that's when I really took striking very serious. And I'm actually planning to do some kind of, whether it be Muay Thai or kickboxing, some kind of matches in the future, 2022.
Yeah.
Because my coaches over at Fusion would like me to get a little more comfortable with my hands before I get back into the MMA cage.
Yeah. Silly question, man. How do you feel about pain? Are you comfortable with pain? Because, dude, you're going down a path of, you got to be pretty well, adjust well, I don't know how to put it, but take pain well. Because you're going to get punched in the head. Because you're obviously spoke before we started this little chat we're having now, roughly about your goal, probably pursuing UFC. You're thinking you had an MMA fight, fight, didn't go your way, unfortunately. And you got in the ring. Kudos, hats off for that, man.
Appreciate
that takes
that.
some balls. But what's it like getting? Actually, here, question. What's it like the lead up to getting in that ring? When you're in that cage, man, do you just go into another state of mind?
Yeah.
And everything else is blanked out, and it's just you and the other opponent that you're fighting.
Exactly. It's just you and that. I mean,
and then your senses got to be just as alive as all ever. Adrenaline.
I mean, so in the back, warming up is crazy because you're trying to get a good hard sweat.
Yeah.
And the whole time you're thinking, oh my God, I'm
the
gonna
back.
kill
If
my
you can
energy.
elaborate on that, that's where your room is before you come out on.
Yeah. So I did my fight at Guilt nightclub in Orlando.
Okay.
So basically they split us up. The back bar area is one warm up room. The top kind of dance floor bar area is another warm up room. I'm in the bottom getting ready. I'm hitting pads with my coach. My coach Mike Scroy, who is
Scroy's your coach.
Yeah, he's my striking coach over in Orlando. Incredible guy, former professional hockey player, just stud.
You got a striking coach, and then you're going to have a coach for your grappling and everything different. They're specialized in certain aspects of fighting. Each one.
My head striking coach is Mike Scroy. My head grappling coach, I guess you would say, is Frank Dukes. He's the one who gave me my start in jiu-jitsu.
Right.
I have a wrestling coach in Bill Barker. And then my head, head coach for MMA is Julian Williams, the head instructor over at Fusion Excel. But Julian's also an incredible jiu-jitsu guy. He's black belt jiu-jitsu as well. So he's just as much my jiu-jitsu coach as Frank, as well as the other jiu-jitsu coach at Fusion, Bruno. Okay. Yeah, so I have a slew of guys.
You have a whole team, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like that's great, man. Yeah. Got the best guys in your corner.
Exactly.
Only going to move you to the top. You know, as you pursue it. So back to what I said is getting into that cage. That's always interesting to me, man. The lead up, this crowd, the UFC in general. It's just such an energy around it. How do you feel when you're even in a smaller venue, the UFC, but even getting in there in the cage, you're fighting in front of people. You're full contact.
It's
gotta be a rush, man.
You kind of just transcend into this other for me at least, in competition, grappling is one thing, but for fighting it's almost like you're, I don't know how to describe it. It's you kind of, your eyes glaze over and you just go to this other place where the training takes over. I mean, I remember walking to the cage. walking to the cage, you know, I'm still kind of myself when I'm walking to the cage.
Yeah.
Giving all my team a hug. You know, I'm stoked that like they got me there. I'm ready to go. I get the Vaseline on my face. You know, they check everything.
What's the Vaseline for again?
Just to, I actually can't give you an exact answer.
Is it
My understanding,
cuts and things that they don't
if
bust,
you get cut,
up?
it just doesn't bleed immensely. It's just more or less like to keep the fight from getting stopped immediately.
Right.
But basically, they do the referee check. I go up and I kind of do my signature, like jump in the air and stomp on the mat. And I remember looking across the cage at Anthony, the guy I fought.
So who's the fight? The fight was with
Anthony Perez.
Anthony Perez is he
stud,
a
tough fighter,
Floridian guy, fighter around the area.
Apopka.
Yeah, okay, that's near Orlando. So
yeah, no, he's a tough dude, and you know, like as bitter as I am about the whole experience, like you know, I take nothing from him. Guy was tough and could crack. I looked across the cage at him. He wanted to kill me. He wanted to kill me, and it was like. It was part of me was, fight or flight. I was like, oh shit, this guy wants to hurt me. I got to get out of here. And part of me was like, hell yeah, let's go. Like, part of me, like, I just grip my gloves a little tighter.
You got an autopilot, man? Or
yeah, just full, like,
all
the
your training
takes
comes
over.
into there and you just go into what you've been, everything comes into play of what you've done before that numerous times, I imagine, sparring and everything. It's
mostly the training takes over. You think a little bit. Like, of course, like, there was moments where...
smart fighting.
Of course.
Yeah, okay.
Like, we were on the cage at one point. I heard my coach calling for knees, and I was like, man, I don't really do knees too much in practice, but okay. And I started doing them, and they were working. But I doubted myself in the fight because I hadn't practiced it. Yeah. But it was... It like, you think, but you can't. Like, it's... I only remember small flashes of the fight.
Really?
Yeah, I remember...
How many rounds was it?
It was 2. It got stopped right at the very end of the second.
TKO? Right?
Yeah, I got
technical knockout.
But, I got dropped on my butt, and I was looking for a single or a double leg. I was kind of like in on his hips, trying to get him. He got behind me and hit me with a good shot, and I did what is called I guess maybe not a Granby, a form of a Granby roll, which I tried to roll over my shoulders to either attack his legs or pull him into my guard, which is a way of just like keeping myself safe from getting hit anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think the ref assumed me diving onto my shoulder and tucking my head was me going unconscious, so he stopped the fight. I'm not going to complain because he dropped me good. Like, I was out of it, but I still could have kept fighting. Like, I was fighting. I was
basically
kept going.
A stoppage of like, you're ready to go, but he, wasn't
It's my first fight. There's no point in me getting hurt.
Yeah. So, where do we stand now as far as your training in regards to MMA fights? Are you looking to get in the ring and get in the the cage again? Sorry, not the ring, the cage. And
I'm hungry for it. It's just I'm not gonna make any decisions without the okay from my coaches, like Julian, just because the guys who kind of just make fights on their own, like sometimes they do well, but sometimes it doesn't work out for them. So I'm only taking fights that they think make sense and when they think I'm ready.
What weight class were you fighting in?
I fought at 135 pounds, but I'm probably going to drop to 125 for my future. Wow. Yeah, just because
that's 10 pounds. That's a good.
Yeah, I'll be because I was big for a 35, but the guy I fought was even bigger than me, which was a little surprising because I'm normally kind of a big 35er in the gym. Yeah. So I'm like, man, if I just take my diet actually like really serious and like get a meal plan, maybe even hire a nutritionist, I could probably make 25 and really be big.
What's the name of that class? That weight? That flyweight, right?
Yes.
Yeah, flyweight.
Yeah, like Henry
Cejudo.
Cejudo.
Fly, bantam, then light.
Yeah, so it's fly,
going up,
bantam, feather than light.
Feather than light. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Wow, man. So, in regards to time, how long do you think you are? How far away are you from your second fight?
I'd say
get back in there.
Maybe 6 months, maybe a little longer. Because
what would you fight max in a year as an MMA fighter? These guys, like the guys that are the top of the class, they might get one a year. Is that
no? Like if you're doing everything right,
you can go more.
You can do like 3 or 4 a year.
Dude,
I know. I've heard of guys like Kevin Holland. He's a big name in the UFC right now. He did 5 in a year, I think.
Yeah. See, I'm going on the McGregor thing with following obviously the biggest name in that, but and his fights are few and far between. But yeah, man.
Yeah, you can get a lot in if you especially if it's a go out and it's a quick finish and you do your camp right. You're not getting injured.
You're back at it.
Yeah, you're not doing silly weight cuts where you're just depleting yourself the day before. You're actually doing it correctly. I've seen guys fight 3-4 times in a year.
Look at Cowboy.
Yeah.
Cerrone.
That guy fights a lot.
Sorry, yeah, he's gnarly.
God, he's insane.
So, in regards to that, I'm jump back into earlier life, your pain threshold must be quite high, man. I'm going through rehab currently with my ankle that I broke surfing, and it's vigorous rehab at the moment, trying to get back on my feet, just get back in the water surfing. So I understand that, when you were younger, you had a few accidents, vert ramp and stuff on a BMX bike where you got knocked out.
Oh my God, that was crazy.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so, God, I was probably 13, 14 maybe, at the skate park, just tooling around on my bike, and they had a big vert wall. So it's basically, for those of you who haven't really experienced it, it's basically a very sharp ramp with a flat wall that
flush,
completely
ramp's flush with the wall, right?
Yeah, because on a skateboard you would just go up as super fast, and you would kind of just revert down. But on a bike, you have to come up and hop, and basically you have to pull off the ramp, but not enough to fly off. Well, me being a young guy, a little inexperienced, I pulled too hard. Don't really remember anything else after that. But I was knocked unconscious. I lost a tooth. Cut to me waking up. The staff who run the place, who, mind you, the skate park got bought out by a paintball business.
Which skateboard park was where
this was Paradise Skate Park in Merritt Island.
Merritt Island?
And it got bought out by a paintball business. So the guys were all kind of military wannabe guys, I'm not
really into skateboard side.
Yeah, they didn't get it. But so I get knocked unconscious, and I wake up in the bathroom with my face in the sink.
Good Lord.
And the thing's running, and I'm sputtering. I think I'm getting waterboarded. But basically, they were trying to wash the blood off my face. And, they also made the mistake of, I get knocked unconscious after falling, who knows how many feet under my head.
Moving you, man.
They pick me up and drag me into the thing. I'm
That's the
freaked
worst
out.
thing to do to somebody, man. Not knowing if there's a spinal injury or anything.
I had no idea where I was.
Very bad, yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea where I was. I had to be reminded, you're at the skate park.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Did you, as you're a kid growing up, you get in fights and scraps and stuff. Did you have many of that growing up?
Not too many.
Really? So when you were 19 and then you were approached about fighting, was it just something that you just immediately felt like?
It took me a little bit. It actually.
You got into it?
I got into so like I said earlier, I found the UFC 1. Kind of was like, whoa, what is this? So I started just going to deep dive on MMA and Jiu Jitsu. Watching guys like Damian Maia, Charles Oliveira, who just won this past weekend, submission artist in MMA, and I was like, the idea that you could. I don't know, the idea that someone who's not a big, giant dude could make someone who looks like that tap out was just enthralling to me. I had to know. But it's so intimidating to just say, I'm going to go to the jiu-jitsu gym for the first time today. So I put it off for a month. Of just I'll do it next week. But finally, my dad made a deal with Frank, my instructor, who Frank wanted a skateboard that we were selling at the restaurant. So my dad gave him the skateboard and said, here, I'll trade you out 2 months at the studio for my son. And I didn't want to, I was like, oh, I'll go next week. Finally, my dad and my mom go, no, you're going. It was a Tuesday night. They're you're going. So packed up my old judo gi from when I did Japanese jiu-jitsu as a kid for a month. And showed up.
Japanese jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, that was a very short period of time.
Okay, cool. I never,
Yeah, it's another.
It's another form.
Another form. A little different than how we do it in the Brazilian jiu-jitsu circles, but still very valued art. But I just. Finally, I got pushed into it. Yeah. And I showed up, took my first class, got absolutely obliterated by a 13-year-old kid.
Did you really?
Yes. I was.
Ain't no joke, man.
This kid tapped me out so many times, armbar, triangle, guillotine. At one point, he sweeps me and mounts me, and he's pressing his
13.
Yeah, he's pressing his chest into my face, and I'm almost tapping out because I'm
19.
Claustrophobic. Yeah, I'm 19. I mean, I'm not a big guy, but I'm 19. I'm a grown man. The only thing I could do was I could big guy strength him a little bit, but he'd just get around it. Yeah. He would just move my arms. If I tried to stop his arm, he'd push it, and then I'm here and I'm getting choked. And I was like, dude, I have to figure this out.
Man, to think about that. You go, oh, I'm 19, 13, 13-year-olds choking people out that are adults,
My, the next class I went to, my second class, I met my buddy TJ. TJ's 15 or 14 at the time. Homeschooled, so homeschooled he could barely talk to you. He was so socially anxious.
Oh, wow.
If you asked him a question, he'd look at grandma for her to answer.
Yeah, I didn't know
this
how to
kid
cope and...
beat my ass.
Really?
Beat my ass. I had gi burn all over my face because he's spastic as hell. He's 14.
Yeah, just all over the
beat me up. Oh my god, I was pissed.
Like walking into a tornado.
Yeah, exactly. And I just had to learn it. And I mean, now, like, TJ and I, we just kill each other. We've been trying to kill each other, like, in training for years. Like, he's been one of my main training partners ever since. Like, every tournament we help each other get ready.
So how's he doing in regards with you guys following suit? Like, he's in the same kind of path.
Yeah, he's like 18, 19 now. Mm-hmm. He's got his blue belt. He's still training hard. He's still super scrappy.
Blue is just below purple.
Yeah,
right?
Blue belt is, so it goes white, blue, purple, brown, black, and then after that there's
black belt. What I understand is they're different. It's not, you get a black belt, right? But then there's, as you continue practicing jiu-jitsu, then you can still get marks on a black belt.
Yeah, you'll get your degrees.
Degrees, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
It's all semantics. But yes, you'll get like, your stripes, your degrees. Like, I believe it's every 3 years.
And how many can you get? Like, as long as you...
Oh, God, I'm going to look. This is embarrassing. I normally would know this answer, but I'm not sure.
I know Taekwondo, it's up to, like, you can be 10th dan and, like, and things of that nature. Like, that's...
Yeah.
Nature, sorry, that's pretty well versed in the art.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. You can get quite a few degrees in your black belt before you would get, I believe, your coral belt, which is black and red.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've met two coral belts in my life.
Yeah.
One guy was a politician
coral
from Brazil.
Belt, they call it, huh? No,
yeah.
Red. Oh, wow.
Yeah, black and red.
Interesting.
And then there's, after the coral belt is the red belt, which I think there's like 2 or 3 red belts.
Wait, there's another one on top of that.
Yeah, but that's for like old Brazilian guys who have like contributed to the sport a lot. Like, you're not going to get a red belt.
What it is.
Yeah.
Would you know how long jiu-jitsu's been around? Like,
I couldn't give you an exact because
is it a fairly new art?
I mean,
martial art?
The way it's practiced and like how popular it is, yeah. I mean, like,
because
people were doing jiu-jitsu long before the UFC,
right.
Especially in Brazil, like the whole Gracie family, they were doing jiu-jitsu for years. Because, don't quote me on this, I'm not a historian, this is just what I've been told, and
you can always look into that.
Yeah, of course.
Just something I was interested to.
Apparently, Mitsuyo Maeda, a man from Japan who was a judo practitioner, came to Brazil and was kind of taking on all comers in challenge fights to show the power of judo. And apparently, like I said, this is kind of like the romanticized story of jiu-jitsu. I don't know how much of this is really true, or how much of it has been kind of, altered.
Where they say, you tell somebody something in a room, and by the time it gets to the other side of the room,
exactly.
it's actually been
changed
around.
A bit. Yeah, but basically he taught the original Gracie brothers, Carlos and Helio, judo. They adapted it in jiu-jitsu because they took the ground aspect, newaza, from judo, and they just went nuts with it. And then that's what we know as Brazilian jiu-jitsu or Gracie jiu-jitsu. But I mean, Brazilian jiu-jitsu as we know it, how it's practiced, is only as old as like the first UFCs. Nobody really knew what jiu-jitsu was before then. At least, I mean, I'm not old enough to speak on that, but...
The jiu-jitsu you practice is stemmed from Brazil, brought to America
by the
Gracie family. And that's where you came on to learning that style of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because you said there's Japanese jiu-jitsu, but you're solely practicing the Brazilian form of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, that
was adopted started with a judo master from Japan.
Yes.
Am I correct? And that came over and has worked with
the Gracie brothers,
Gracie
the
brothers,
ones.
and they've got their own kind of
that's the kind of roundabout
interpretation, or they've developed it into their own type of
basically their own style,
ownership of jiu-jitsu or style. Sorry, a good word.
Yeah. Well, gotcha. Either way, but it's an interesting story. I mean, like, there's a lot of history there. Like, I mean, all kinds of dudes just getting in street fights in Brazil, man. Yeah. Like, those guys are rough and rowdy.
Imagine certain areas.
Oh my God,
would be. Have you gone to Brazil?
No, I have not. I've not been out of the country to train. I've been to Hawaii to train.
Oh, you have?
And when I visited.
There's some gnarly guys there with BJ Penn, Max Holloway. Guys that are just amazing fighters, huh?
I went to Sunset Beach Jiu Jitsu because I kind of got it in there through Kelly Slater.
Okay.
So we were we were there in Hawaii visiting in the North Shore, and my first day at Sunset Beach Jiu Jitsu, I'm a white belt. Maybe it's about 6 months in. Full of piss and vinegar because I'm just ready to go. Like, I'm all in on jiu-jitsu. I love it. It's my favorite thing right now. I'm like 6 months in. So as much as I'm into it, I'm still like so new. Like, I don't even know how new I am.
The new kid on the block.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I show up and I roll with Kelly, like to get the nerves out. And then I'm sitting and I just hear, "Hey, Brock, let's roll." And I'm like, oh no. Because I turn around, Jeff Donor, one of the black belts from Sunset Beach, giant. He's like 50-something on TRT, 200 pounds of pure muscle. And we're going, and he's being nice to me. And then about 2 minutes into the roll, he kind of looks at the clock, sweeps me, and goes into a position called knee on belly, where he basically puts his knee on my sternum, like on my floater ribs or my stomach. He posts his far leg, so he's driving all his weight into me, and then he pulls my belt and my collar. So he's pulling me into his knee, but his knee is pushing my stomach into the floor. Yeah, 2 solid minutes, like just straight. I'm trying to get out as hard as I can because I'm like, I'm not trying to look like a wuss. I'm not going to just accept the position. I'm trying, I'm moving, I'm doing all this.
Can't show weakness or softness. You just want just take this one.
Just took it and just took it the whole time. You know, he laughs and pats me on the chest and you said, good roll. Went out and puked my guts out behind the barn that they're training in. Yeah, just puked my guts out, cleaned it up, you know, made sure everything was all good to go.
Damn.
Went back in, washed my mouth out, and kept rolling.
There you go, man.
Yeah, just
back on the horse.
Yeah, I just kept getting beat up, and then I got to the amazing opportunity to meet Dan Ige, who currently fights in the UFC.
Oh wow, okay.
I believe he just fought this last weekend.
You did, okay.
Yeah, so Kelly, the guy who was kind of helping out around his place that we were staying at with the landscape, he was a boxing coach.
Right.
And he saw me shadowboxing. He goes, "Oh, you train?" I'm like, "Yeah, like I went to Sunset Beach Jiu Jitsu the other night, but I kind of forgot how to get there because Kelly took me."
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh, I'll call my buddy Dan. He'll come pick you up and take you to the gym." So I'm like, "Sure." He goes, "Yeah, you should look him up. He just fought." I look up Dan Ige. He had his first fight in the UFC like a couple months beforehand.
Meant to be, man.
Yeah. Picked me up. Took me to the gym, super nice guy. I mean, like, this guy had no reason to pick me up and deal with me.
Genuinely nice dude.
Yeah, just genuinely cool guy.
Yeah.
And he's just such an incredible fighter, man. Like, he's hit a little bit of a skid, but I think if that dude just keeps sticking to the grindstone, he's going to do some really big things.
Yeah.
He took me and, like, I mean, this guy would, like, had fought in the UFC, like, a month or two ago, and he's beating the crap out of me. I mean, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but... Just like I'm trying my hardest with him, and he's just like, all right.
Is there a chance, if you're a purple belt or a lesser belt than the top tiered fighter or top tiered belted jiu-jitsu expert, say a black belt versus a purple belt, right? Is there still a chance you could work your way into choking out a black belt?
Yeah. So the thing with,
or is it very, very rare? Probably very rare. Yeah.
It's rare, but not as rare as you'd think, because the one thing that like is kind of stress is like the training room. As much as it matters, it really don't matter. It's like we're talking about practice. You know, that classic basketball quote. Realistically, I mean, yeah, you could catch somebody in practice, and that's a big deal. But you don't know if that, especially if it's like, you know, if I'm a purple belt and I'm going to the black belt my size. Sure, I could catch him with some of my better techniques, but I have no idea if he's trying to work on something or if he's kind of chilling. Like, the only way to know is competition. But the black belt doesn't guarantee you anything, like any kind of safety against like a lower belt, like, and not even like in like a there's obviously respect, but it's just you can be a black belt, and if you screw up and let a white belt take your back and put his arm around your neck, you might go to sleep. And that's the beautiful thing about the art, is that the belt just represents time and skill. Like, you know, if you have a black belt around your waist, it means you've been doing jiu-jitsu for a long time and you're pretty damn good and you have pretty good technical knowledge. But somebody who just is hungry and, you know, just catches you in a good position. I mean, perfect example, my first match is a purple belt. My first grappling match, I lost to a blue belt.
Wow.
Yeah, his Dylan Grofflow.
Yeah, that's a belt before the purple, right?
But Dylan is ridiculous. I watched Dylan tap black belts out in competition as a blue belt. It's just skill. Yeah, it's all just skill. And, you know, like, we had a back and forth match for like 8 minutes.
Because you know the thing with you see UFC all the time. You see guys get knocked out 5 seconds, 3 seconds, crazy stuff, man. Like what was it? Masvidal knocked out that knee dude in the head of
Askren.
Ben Askren, and it was like,
it's tough
stuff like that. So it's why it's so exciting, because you never know. Like, he come out and you go, this guy's not going to win this fight. Next thing, he's knocked the dude out in 5 seconds flat, and it's exciting because you know it's so unexpected.
It's the unpredictability.
Exactly.
I mean, perfect example. My buddy put $100 on Juliana Pena over the weekend, and I was like, dude, why are you going to waste $100? Come on, it's Amanda Nunes. Like, I bought the Kool-Aid just like everyone, because I had been watching.
And that girl got her, man. Yeah, the Venezuelan, the American girl background Venezuelan, was it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, amazing.
Dude, and she just did.
Yeah.
She put on an incredible performance. Came in with an awkward rhythm, threw Amanda off, and then she was able to tire her out and get the choke. And
Nunes is just a warrior. Like,
she's
it's
nuts.
unstoppable,
Next level.
pretty much. And then you get stopped. You know, that's what's exciting about it.
Yeah. My last grappling match was against a teammate of hers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were out of the same gym.
Really?
Yeah.
Excellent. That's amazing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, you've had some hell of experience, some hell experiences with everything, man. Was at a young age already, and that sounds amazing about Hawaii, training with those guys, and getting picked up and taken by. The interesting question I had for you is, where do you see yourself in regards to getting your black belt? Because you got to get to your brown first. Obviously, you're at your purple. Had your blue, purple now, which you did very quickly in regards to most people, like I said earlier. Yeah. But how about how far away would you see in time frame of pursuing and getting your black belt? How many years? Okay, so you got your purple now. Then your brown, and that's how many years roughly with a brown belt? How soon can you? Do you know, or does it just depend on your?
It's all the person and your instructor. And how it's so subjective.
How you learn.
BJ Penn, I want to say, got his black belt in like 3 or 4 years,
which is not.
That's
really
that's nuts. Like that's
from starting jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
dude, but that's insane.
BJ was a special case. That dude lived on the mats. That's all he did,
nonstop.
Like he made me look like a casual, with how much he trained. So it's all subjective.
And you're training twice a day, every 5 to 7 days.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of training.
You gotta get like much. How do you feel about recovery days? You have a day you just sit there and veg out.
Sometimes Fridays.
Because you gotta be. You gotta be like bruised up and.
Yeah, it's
beating your body up.
Mondays sometimes I'll skip, but usually I like to do a little something, whether it's like just cardio or something. Like a lot of times Friday is my rest day, and then if I'm really feeling beat up, I'll just skip Sunday training. Yeah. Like Sunday is usually like. Open mat, go and just see everybody and kind of socialize and just work on things I want to work on that week. But if I just don't feel like doing it, like I'll either skip completely or I'll just go and do some sparring on Sunday. Yeah. But then I'll just kind of cut it off at that. Just do maybe 5-10 rounds and then just get out of there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if like back to the question about my black belt, I personally don't think. I mean, it's probably gonna be years away in my opinion. Like. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it would take just as long, because I've been training jiu-jitsu for almost 5 years now. I wouldn't be surprised if it took another 5 years. And I'm really...
10, so you're looking at 10 roughly.
Maybe. I mean, I've heard people say less for me because I train so much, but personally, I don't want to be given any of my brown belt or my black belt before I'm really, truly ready for it. Because I got my purple belt when I was injured, and it was awesome. It was the kick in the butt I needed to get better. But I felt... this pressure, and it was self-imposed, but I felt this pressure to live up to my belt level. So now that I'm a purple belt and I'm kind of coming into my own, like I'm starting to really feel like I'm getting better and doing things. I just want to train. I just want to train like crazy and get better, compete like.
Yeah, you're very passionate, man. That's what to be successful at really anything in life, you got to hold that passion and just be dedicated.
Yeah,
committed to it, or it's. You can't be half in.
No, exactly. All I want right now is just to get better. Yeah. Just that's all I'm doing is just trying to get better, trying to go against better guys and get bigger wins and just prove that I'm what I'm doing is the right stuff. Like I'm not out here trying to be arrogant, like, oh, I'm the best and like flex on anybody.
No.
I want to prove I'm the best to myself.
Yeah, and you're very humble with everything, I appreciate that. Goes a long ways, yeah.
I don't know. I don't like the whole like. Some guys like to do the whole McGregor thing, and it works
to a degree. Chest and all that, man.
But it's just not me. It would come off fake. And it would come off cringy if I tried to do
yourself,
it.
Who you are, yeah.
So just be me, and people dig it for the most part. Like I try to be witty and funny with my stuff, but like I take what I do serious. Like I'm not going out there just to be.
Well, you're pursuing this as a profession, man. So you've got to be, going to be your livelihood.
Exactly.
And what. Speaking of livelihood, UFC fighters, in regards to get a UFC match and get a fight in the UFC, that's a hell of a lot of work, man, to get to that point, right?
I don't know too much about that.
But if you're in the UFC, they contract you to do a certain number of fights, would you know?
I believe so.
Do you know much about that?
I don't know. See, like, I actually have teammates in the UFC.
Oh, you do?
But we're not close enough to where like I could be discussing their contracts with them.
Yeah.
From what I understand,
to the individual probably.
Yeah, it's a very individual thing, and it's also it depends on if you got a manager or not.
Right.
Like,
I understand that.
I a lot of guys are managed by Ali Abdelaziz. He's the guy who was managing Khabib and like Gaethje and a lot of those guys.
Oh wow.
So like they might get a little different treatment because they're with Ali versus like. The guys who I train with, they've got smaller managers, so I think that's a whole business thing I haven't even gotten to deal with. Because like I haven't even gotten close to where guys are going to be paying me to fight. Like right now, it's just building my career up.
Yeah, yeah. But hey, man, you're on your way.
Yeah, I'm trying.
23, and you're going to be 24 the end of this month.
Yeah, the 30th of December.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday. Early.
Thank you.
But we're almost there, man. It's almost the end of 2021 anyway, so it's not far off.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it goes quick. So what's the plan for Brock Reynolds, man, for the future here? Just train, and see and just pursue your passion of fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
You surfing at all still? I mean, I know I met you years back, and I used to go to your parents' cafe and stuff down in Cocoa, which is Cafe Surfing East, a great little spot.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, man.
Love that joint. Got to go down and visit and say hello.
Yeah, please.
But, so where do you see yourself in 5 years, man?
Man, 5 years from now, I mean, ideally,
I'd like to revisit this down the line and keep in touch with you and
definitely that'd be amazing.
Check in,
I see myself still training. I mean, in 5 years, hopefully I'd be a professional fighter by then. Like I'll have a good amateur record.
That's your goal then, to be professional.
No matter what I do with fighting, I want to build a good amateur record, win some belts. Like I want to be I'm just gonna say it right now, I want to be combat night champion, whether it's 25 or 35.
Actually, if you don't mind, touch on a few of the invites you've had. You've had some grappling, quite a few extensive grappling victories, submissions in under a very small. How many seconds was it? It was
4 under 30 seconds.
4 under 30 seconds, yeah. That's amazing, man.
I mean, I fought MMA for Combat Night MMA, which is just incredible promotion. Mitchell Chamale is the head promoter, and he's someone I train with. He comes to my gym, and he's beating my ass day in and day out, and he's telling me what I'm doing wrong, and he's like, look, man.
You gotta like to get your ass beat in a sport you're pursuing.
You have to be okay with getting beat up. Man. And like, not even in a malicious way or you getting hurt. You just have to be willing to be like, man, I was not winning that round, and you got to take that, and it sucks sometimes, but it's how it is. But
a lot of mental game in that too, is it? Because if you're getting knocked down, you're like, but then you come back and you see these guys win, it's like, whoa, he was dead, but now he's like on top of the guy, choking him out, armbarring him out, and it's like that's what's amazing. It's amazing to watch, but. Yeah. So you got to have a very, very strong psyche, very strong mental game, I'd imagine too.
Definitely, but Combat Night. Big time. I fought for them. I plan to fight for them. In the future. I want to get one of their amateur belts, and then maybe go pro with them. But that's all in the future. And then I've done a lot of grappling matches. The biggest notable names would be Fight to Win, which is still one of the one of the better experiences I've had grappling. It's just big name, great stage. They treat you like a rock star. It was just an amazing experience. Next would be Submission Grappling Series, which is run by my good friend Jada. She's just done so much for me. It's probably the most fun I've had competing. All my teammates are on the card. We go out in the cage. Nice. They got the walkout music. It's just it's a fun event. Yeah, it's a big event.
Next fight you got.
Yeah, no, Submission Grappling Series.
Come and get a couple of the boys together and come down and see you, man.
Yeah, February 5th at in Orlando. If you guys want to come, I'm nothing official, but I'm hoping to have a match.
February 5th in Orlando.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
is the venue set?
I believe it'll be Guilt Nightclub, but don't hold me to it.
Okay.
But
that's where you had your first MMA fight.
Yeah, I had my MMA fight, and I've had 2 grappling matches at Guilt.
So that venue does grappling, MMA. They do all kinds of just different fighting.
The people who do Combat Night and Submission Grappling Series know each other, so they get into the same venues.
Cool.
But I've done work with them. I've done work with Zapatero Invitational, run by Josh LeDuc.
Wow.
They've done a lot of good for me. I've filled in for them twice on a week's notice.
Yeah.
That's a big thing I do with this grappling is if someone hits me up a week, 2 weeks out from a match and needs somebody, I'm not going to hem and haw and, I didn't train. I'm always training, so if you need somebody, hit me up.
So shoot, man, February 5th is planned to be
That's
in
a
there
hope.
again.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get a match for that.
I hope you do.
So if you hear this, Jada, come on.
And how do people get in touch or follow you? I mean, Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram.
What's the best way that you communicate with people? If your fans and stuff as you build a fan base here.
Yeah, my Instagram is probably the best way to get a hold of me. Young _Brock, or my Facebook Brock Reynolds. Either or, but usually social media is the best way to get a hold of me.
Cool, man. Follow you up. Like I said, I want to revisit this and follow you all the way through your process. It's exciting to see, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
You've got the passion and the drive to to complete your goal, man. That's excellent. It's great. And for me, I get insight into this because I've always been interested in how all this fight game works.
Yeah.
And I'm a fan. I'd probably get knocked out in the first 10 seconds if I got in that thing, dude. I don't even think I'd get in that cage, man. But I'd look from the outside and watch. Those guys got some balls, man. And the girls and guys that do it, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's the walk is, I think, the craziest thing. Cause like,
yeah, that stuff's gnarly. The lead up and the songs, man, coming out to that.
Yeah, I walked out to Off the Grid by Kanye West, which
you did?
the name of my gym. And
Epic,
I love that song, but I can't listen to it now without thinking about walking down those stairs, walking to the crowd, and people are screaming at me. I mean, great little tidbit.
Yeah.
I'm upstairs because they have us walk down the stairs and go to the cage. It's a nice little walkout. I'm up there and they called my opponent. He's walking to the cage and I'm sitting, shit. Sorry for my language. I'm crapping myself. I'm about to go in a cage and fight another person. And this guy,
that's got to be intense.
This guy who's had a couple too many just looks at me and he pokes me in the chest. He goes, "Be first, man. Be first." And I'm like, yeah.
Loaded to the brim of Bush Light, probably.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, yeah, cool. He goes, "Be first, bro." And I'm like, okay, just kind of go off. But I should have listened to that guy because I tried to be first, and or I shouldn't have listened to him, is what I should say. It's like, tried to be first, got caught with a jab, and got dropped on my butt in the first 10 seconds. And
you went 2 rounds? Was it the second round that they called?
Yeah, they called it in the second. But first round...
Is it 5 minutes the same? 5-minute rounds?
No, 3 for amateur.
3-minute rounds.
Yeah.
And you go, how many in with that fight? 3. Could that have gone 3-3-minute rounds?
Yeah, it would have been 3-3, so 9 minutes. But
gotcha.
The first round, I did well for myself. I got caught on the feet in the first early exchange, but just grabbed a single leg and was able to keep going and put him in an armbar. Like he put me on my back and I put him in an armbar, and I don't know how I didn't break his arm to this day. Just a testament to just him being a tough dude. He just took it. He let me crank and crank and crank. Like, I definitely...
Have you broken anybody's?
I've never...
But you were almost there.
Yeah, I was trying, but I think I wasn't able to get the finish because I was a little out of it.
Give you shivers, dude, thinking about it.
I know. And then locked up another armbar, kind of missed it, and then right at the end of the round, I still kick myself to this day. I got a hold of his neck with 10 seconds left and went for a guillotine, but he was just able to survive and just kind of... Just tough his way out
of it.
Yeah,
and the bell went, and then
the bell went, and I got up, and I
could have been the end of it right there.
I felt the dump, the adrenaline dump.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I 100% adrenaline dump because I'm sitting on the stool. I can't hear a thing my coaches are telling me. My ears are just ringing, and I'm sitting there and I'm trying to
dump. Now explain that. That's when you're just in endorphin. Everything's just
all your
overload, right?
Yeah,
sensory overload.
Because I had this guy in a deep armbar, so mentally I'm kind of thinking I have him. That's how I finished so many people in practice. And in practice, people don't let you break their arm, so they tap. Same thing with the guillotine. I thought I was so close on it. Like, I heard him gurgling and everything, but he was just a tough ass dude, and he took it. And so the second round comes, I can't get my hands up. My arms and my hands feel like cinder blocks. I'm trying to get my hands to up here. I'm here. I'm like, oh no. We go.
Okay. So wow. So that was. Affected your performance.
Oh, yeah, of course. I was so tired because we kept going, and he caught me a couple times. I hit him back a couple times. We ended up on the cage. Yeah. I was able to throw a few more knees. And at one point, I just heard my coach yell, "Change levels," and I had no energy.
Is it, like you said before earlier in this, you autopilot, but you said you heard him say knees before, but like you don't really, you're just focused, man. It's got so much going on that... If the coach gets something into your brain that works, you're stoked. But if you just got to do your job, and everything,
it's like you'll hear
everything's
stuff
blocked out, right?
Yeah, for the most part,
muffled.
Things come in, but things don't.
Right.
Like, and also I'm like at least with a grappling match, like I've gotten to the point where if I hear something from a coach that maybe isn't gonna work for me, I just forget. But in the fight, I was trying to do everything coach was telling me. I was just my body was not responding.
Yeah.
Like I remember at one point we were clinched up, and I put my chin on his collarbone. And I was like, and I was like, oh no, I knew I wasn't in good shape there because I was so tired. And he was tired too, but he was 1-0 already going into that fight, so he had more experience.
And he had confidence too.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you're getting in there and going,
I'm just
all
going.
or nothing here, and I'm not.
Yeah, but I mean, I kept fighting, man. Like I didn't just like, and this is not like to say anything bad about anyone, but it's like I didn't get clipped and just turn away and just like put my head against the fence and wait for the ref. I didn't like, I kept fighting until they
took it like a champion.
Yeah, they literally had to pull the guy off me.
Yeah,
because I kept going.
Just don't heart of a warrior. Don't give up. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm excited, man. I'm gonna get some kickboxing in this next year, get a little more comfortable, and then 2022, I'm coming back with a vengeance, man. I'm just gonna go out
Brock's
and
coming
maul
strong.
somebody.
That's excellent, dude.
Yeah.
Stoked to hear that, man. Well, hey, buddy, I was just stoked and psyched to talk to you today, man.
Yeah,
Glad to have you
too.
up, and I'd hope to have you on again down the line. And
definitely.
talk about some more wins in your future.
Yeah.
And I want to come train with you down there once my ankle's back and I can function with both legs.
Exactly.
My ankle gets better. I'll come and see you, man. Train down at the gym with you and try to get in the water too, surfing.
Dude, that would be great.
Yeah.
We mentioned surfing earlier. I need to get back out in the water a little more. Yeah. It's really good for the upper body and just getting out in the water, the salt water. It's a good detox.
Cleanse yourself a bit.
Definitely.
You know?
Oh my God, it's
relaxing.
Yeah, something I miss a little bit. My dad's got me back in the water a little more as of late.
Good. Yeah. Shout out to Bruce too.
Yes, definitely.
Your dad, he's a great guy.
Yeah, massive shout out to my parents. They don't like the fighting thing.
Yeah.
They really don't, but they still support me anyways, and that really means the world to me.
That's great.
And I gotta give them a massive...
They're coming to your fights and they're...
No, they didn't come, and I'm glad they didn't.
It'd be tough to see that.
It'd be tough. The Guilt nightclub's not a vibe for them. People are losing their minds every time I'm getting hit in the face. People are losing their minds.
Guilt nightclub doesn't sound like a place my parents would want to go to.
That's not the place. But yeah, but they still support me. They wanted to watch the live stream. It crapped out on them, which was a blessing in disguise. But it's how it is. They know that if they don't like it, they care about me. But they also know that this is what I want to do, and that I'm a young guy and I have to pursue my dreams now.
Yeah, your dream, exactly.
Yeah. Same thing like my girlfriend, Mick. She's just super supportive. Like, she lets me do, all kinds of stuff. Like, I can bail on her to train or to go do this and that, and I don't
really
like it.
Of you.
Just beyond supportive. And then, just massive thank you to all my training partners, my teammates, my coaches, like Frank and Brad from Off the Grid, and Professor John from Off the Grid, all my teammates there, Bruno, Bill, Coach Mike, Coach Julian from Fusion, everyone I train with over there. I mean, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I always want to stress whenever I do stuff like this is that, as much as MMA and Jiu-Jitsu are an individual sport, it's a team sport. You need a team to be successful.
Yeah.
So I just want to put a massive thank you to all those guys because I wouldn't be here without them.
Yeah. Well, hey, buddy, I'm stoked to have you on the show, and
thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on Prime Movers Podcast, and hope to see you again here in the near future, and we'll talk about all your wins, and I'm come watch your fight February 5th.
Yes, hopefully. You heard
fingers
it, Jada.
Crossed.
Yes, and, fingers crossed.
And thanks for coming on, man, and thanks for everybody for listening and tuning in. It's been it's inspiring.
Thank you, man.
It's been an honor. And good luck for the future here, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hearing your story again. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.